Right from the start, we are foreshadowed into the episode with a dark and gloomy scene of an abandoned building. With owls hooting in the background, we are introduced to a boy with funny hair mixing some weird substances.
SOS.
Definitely the anime main character. Soon, our weirdly haired boy is distracted by the clicking sound of heels. Looks like someone is approaching. If you're expecting to get some relevant information about the plot of the anime from this scene, I have some bad news for you. All we're getting is more owl hooting sounds and some more heel clicking sounds.
The fuck you doing here?
A female figure finally appears on screen. The depressed-looking girl falls to her knees, takes a deep breath, and lets out a sharp, spine-chilling shriek down a well. Kinda like this. Right after the opening, we are introduced to the life routine of our main character, Chihiro Furuya. It's a story that initially seems like we've heard it countless times before. A high school kid fantasizes about being his version of an ideal girl. Here's something that may, chill your blood, pun very intended. Our protagonist's ideal type is a zombie.
Oh my god, bro.
Yes, you heard him right, he's a necrophiliac.
You what?
Although this is a bit unusual even for those of us who are, deprived, this is what our main character likes, so we are obliged to accept it. No questions asked. Moving on. Soon we are introduced to Chihiro's family members. A senile grandfather, a dad who appears to be a temple priest, a hardworking ghost-obsessed younger sister, and Babu, a cute little stray cat who's now a permanent part of the family. But don't get too attached to seeing Babu because in the next scene he's run over by a neighbor's truck. A moment of silence for Babu because his 2 seconds of screen time are over. Reminder, this is a zombie anime. In the next scene, we see Chihiro tossing and turning, unable to sleep when an unearthly idea enters the brain of our unearthly main character. From out of nowhere, Chihiro pulls out an ancient reanimation manuscript that has been conveniently lying in his cupboard and is the solution to all of his problems.
Oh my god!
In the middle of the night, Chihiro bike rides to a typical abandoned building in a neighborhood that he's sure no one visits. And yes, you are right, that's the same building we saw in the starting scene. To the editor, play the scream in the background. I dare you. It'll be super funny.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Apparently, Chihiro has been keeping Babu's body in a small freezer in hopes of reviving it. However, this is where the neighborhood that nobody visits gets a visitor from the person who was randomly screaming in a well and just sort of leaves. The next day, we find out that this visitor happened to be Sangareya, the idealized dream girl of every teenage boy at Chihiro's high school. But not Chihiro though. He's no simp. We are also introduced to Ranko Saoji, another zombie fanatic who is also Chihiro's cousin. Both of them seem close, since our protagonist is not a simp, unlike y'all.
The fuck you say to me, you little shit!
He shows no interest in her at all.
Nah, go fuck yourself.
Instead, he visits the dark and gloomy neighborhood again for his second attempt at reviving Babu. Then he sees Sankareya again. Turns out she only goes there to rant about how controlled and overly protected her life is. Chihiro is eavesdropping when something is revealed about her father, which surprises Chihiro enough for him to drop his apple juice, disclosing his position to the enemy.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Feeling depressed, lonely, and embarrassed for her ranting, Sankareya decides to participate in Chihiro's reanimation experiments because she's kind of tired of her current life, and the idea that Chihiro would take care of her if she turned into a zombie enchants her.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
For now, Sankareya probably seems like one psychotic girl who wants to die and come back as a zombie, but in the next episode, her reasons for having such suicidal thoughts start making sense. At the start of the next episode, Rhea offers to retrieve a plant for Chihiro so that he can complete his resurrection formula. On her way, she recalls how her father, who displayed obsessive levels of devotion for her and prevented her from establishing any human connections really, had constantly put restrictions on her.
You disingenuous, dense motherfucker!
What happens behind those walls that Rhea calls home? The majority of us, I'm honestly very sure, would not want to be in Rhea's shoes, unless you are broke and enjoy receiving free tuition and living in a large mansion, of course, which I enjoy, but also that sounds
Shut the fuck up.
In the present, Chihiro wonders why Rhea is taking so long. She couldn't possibly be climbing some cliff to obtain the flower. Psst, he thinks to himself while looking out the window, only to find Rhea climbing up some cliff to obtain the flower.
Good meme.
Why are anime female leads always so hell-bent on dying? I mean, like, same, but also not.
Shut the fuck up.
Using the hydrangea plant she found, Chihiro completes the formula. Before feeding it to Babu, though, Rhea sneaks a small sample of it for herself. To Chihiro's absolute dismay, Babu does not come back to life, and he gives up on his experiments and decides to bury him. Rhea promises to visit Babu's grave. On his way back, he drops off Rhea miles away from her house because she's scared of getting caught by her creepy father, and guess what? She gets caught.
Oh shit, not good.
Honestly, Rhea's life just keeps getting worse, and her father just keeps getting creepier and creepier. We only spend a second and a half feeling sorry for Rhea when the scene abruptly cuts off to Ranko taking a bath at Chihiro's place. Apparently, she's there to return the DVD she borrowed, but we all know she wants the oblivious Chihiro Furuya all to herself.
Simp.
She harasses this poor man and inquires him about his recent whereabouts while our main character plays hard to get. Her eyes land on the mysterious freezer on Chihiro's bed. The container opens and Ranko sees Babu, except he's not dead. Babu springs up and just runs away.
What the fuck?
Meanwhile, trapped in her own house, Rhea decides to commit suicide by drinking the poison.
Oh my god! Oh jeez, oh my god!
The episode ends in a super depressing atmosphere while Rhea falls to what she thinks is her death. But she does not know that the formula worked on Babu. Rhea wakes up the next morning and is super disappointed that she's not dead. She puts on a fake smile and goes to greet her crappy parents.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Rhea eavesdrops on her father's conversation and finds out he has found Chihiro and plans on castrating him. Okay, I think I'm actually gonna throw up now. Bye!
Man, shut your bitch.
Upon hearing this news, Rhea escapes the house.
I'm out. I'll holler at you, homie.
Her mother honestly seemed kind of happy when she was leaving. Meanwhile, Chihiro and Ranko are on a mission to find Babu. They squeeze through a tight sewer hole with the camera, giving us some really weird angles. And honestly, I'm about as done as Chihiro right now. Like, stop it.
Stop it.
Next up, we are introduced to one of Chihiro's friends who's very, very thirsty for the touch of a woman. Unfortunately, Rhea approaches this dude who's just hiding in the bushes. And to add to his grievance, she asks about Chihiro. This dude gets so frustrated he literally starts wiggling like an earthworm. However, as I said, this girl's life just refuses to get better. She's spotted by an old man who works for her father and informs him about her whereabouts. Her father, with his eyes fixed on Rhea's naked portrait, says that he can't understand why his daughter won't just do as she's told. Anyway, while Rhea wanders onto the cliff she found the hydrangea plant on, Babu leads Chihiro to the same cliff. Unfortunately, Rhea's father is also there to kidnap her, but before he can lay his hands on her, Babu jumps in to save the day. He tries to whip the cat, but accidentally whips his daughter off the cliff. She falls headfirst and bursts her skull, which sends blood flying in every direction. I know it's sunny weather with a cloudless sky, but a sad scene like this calls for some rain. Our protagonist stands before Rhea's body with rain camouflaging his tears. While his mind is filled with flashbacks of all her memories, he suddenly hears a voice calling out his name.
Hey, what's up, guys?
He turns around to find Rhea standing right in front of him like his perfect dream girl, covered in blood, limping with bloodshot eyes. What more could Chihiro possibly ask for? Soon the clouds disappear and the scene ends as Rhea falls into his arms. Episode 4 starts with Rhea's depressed father taking a bath with naked pictures of her daughter all around him, and he suddenly rises and takes an oath to destroy Chihiro for blaming him for Rhea's current state. Rhea is in Chihiro's room, stitching up her wounds while we're served a lot of,
Stop right there, criminal scum!
Here, we come to know that Rhea can communicate with Babu. She feels more alive now than ever before. The moment gets intimate as we expect a kiss, but we're interrupted by Ranko.
I'll get you, bitch!
While Chihiro leaves to apologize to Ranko, Rhea decides to take a shower. There, Rhea meets Chihiro's grandpa, who sticks to her like an eel. Later that day, when Chihiro comes back, he discovers Rhea is displaying symptoms of rigor mortis, and if he doesn't act quickly, her corpse would just decompose.
Oh shit, not good.
While brainstorming of a way to save hungry Rhea, he hides her stiff body in his closet. It's a day off from school, so he has to help in cleaning his father's temple. There, he learns that his blockhead grandfather was the one who invented the reanimation pill in the first place. Meanwhile, Ranko gets more suspicious of the possible connection between Chihiro and Rhea, so she decides to visit him. Although he denies the allegations, she goes up to his room to borrow a DVD and encounters our main heroine, or maybe main anti.
That's quite big.
After Ranko screams, Rhea fondles Ranko's boob, bleeds profusely.
That's gross, man.
Chihiro interrupts the scene between the two and just pulls Rhea away. I don't know if Rhea is super hungry or super in the mood, because she just throws herself at him and just kisses him.
That's gross, man.
At this point, you kind of just have to give up on trying to make sense of it and just, while Chihiro tries to explain everything to Ranko, Rhea follows Babu out of the window to a field of hydrangea leaves and consumes some of them, which helps her regain her wits and cures her of her rigor mortis. Grandfather reveals to Chihiro that Rhea must continue consuming hydrangea plants, even if it's not a long-term fix for her, to prevent her from turning into a corpse. Chihiro convinces his dad to let Rhea live with them, and his dad just agrees. We need more parents like him. What's so ironic about this is that a temple is home to a zombie-loving fanatic and a zombie girl. From that day, Chihiro starts taking notes about Rhea's condition. That evening, they go out for a walk and Rhea accidentally hurts Chihiro in an attempt to rescue him from an automobile. She then starts licking his wounds, which— The entire focus of episode 7 is exploring Ranko's emotions. We discover more about Ranko and Chihiro's history through a series of flashbacks and real-time scenes. At first, we are shown a few glimpses of Ranko's life as a restaurateur's daughter. She seems quite content, especially owing to the fact that Chihiro spends his Sundays lending a hand in their kitchen.
No bullshit.
Both of them are bickering about nonsense when Ranko's mother suggests that they kind of look like a married couple. From the looks of it, poor Chihiro is being cornered in an arranged marriage.
Stop it.
Chihiro catches Ranko when she almost slips, at which Ranko's mom gets all excited and calls it hot stuff. After this, we are taken to the past, back before they even knew each other as cousins.
Oh shit, not good.
It all started when they were kids. Ranko was lost and scared in a graveyard. Chihiro came to her rescue and gave her some company. According to Ranko, it was love at first sight. Later, both are introduced to each other by Chihiro's dad, i.e. Ranko's uncle. Chihiro takes her to his room, all excited to show her a zombie movie. Surprisingly, the Ranko of the past doesn't share the same gore interests as she does in the present. She was interested in him, but he was just interested in zombies. For the next 2 years, Chihiro and Ranko were apart. When they met again, Ranko had grown, but Chihiro hadn't really changed. He was still really obsessed with zombies. The dynamic between the both of them changed a bit after Chihiro saved Ranko from a stray dog, even though he himself was scared. Later, she bashfully asks him what he imagined his first kiss would be like, and he responds, "I would like to smooch with a zombie girl."
Motherfucker.
Seems like Chihiro was always a fucking weirdo. Even if he only wanted zombies, she was confident that eventually he would change his mind.
No.
Unfortunately, the biggest danger to Ranko's love life materialized when Rhea turned into a zombie. Back in the present, Ranko tries to kiss Chihiro, but the way he reacts is priceless.
Are you crazy?
His expression is that of pain, and he clearly has no interest in his cousin, because why the hell would he? Although Ranko really needs to get this through her head, she's way too stubborn. She backs off and runs away and promises not to give up just yet. The way things are, with both attractive female characters swooning over our protagonist, even though one of them is cousin.
Shut the fuck up.
At Chihiro's home, Rhea starts eating with his family, although she only eats plant leaves, pretending to be a vegetarian.
This is big brain time.
Chihiro is busy taking serious zombie observations by recording Rhea from, weird angles. Sorry, I'm allergic to bullshit. Rhea demands that Chihiro grant her a wish by taking her shopping in exchange for allowing him to record her. He films her in a shopping mall and she starts floating in clouds in his vision. Looks like we lost another one, comrades. Man is totally in love.
Shut the fuck up.
Meanwhile, Ranko enjoys a long bath in a public bath place and even forces Chihiro's sister Mero and her friends to join her. Rhea's life can't be all about sunshine and rainbows for too long, though. Her father's men locate her in the shopping mall, and they are ready to kidnap kidnap her as soon as Chihiro is out of sight. Reia's father practices fencing while fantasizing about his daughter coming home, and
That's gross, man.
absolutely smitten with Reia, Chihiro buys her a dress that she can wear to show the decaying process, which is weird as hell.
What the fuck?
Reia is so moved by this gesture that she just starts crying. Or at least she wants to, because turns out zombies can't cry.
Psych!
Chihiro goes to get something to eat, and this gives the kidnappers time to execute their plan.
Let's do this.
Someone approaches Reia from behind, and the camera slowly goes up to his face. Turns out he's just that dog in heat. That's Chihiro's friend from earlier.
Hey, take a chill pill.
However, it seems like his loss might actually be of help as it stops the abductors from approaching Reia for the time being. He drags her out into the sun, which is not only super bad for her decaying condition, but also makes the matters worse. The abductors quickly carry Reia on their shoulders and deliver one punch to Chihiro's friend, and he just falls unconscious because man's never had a day of training in his life. When Chihiro is unable to find Reia, he runs everywhere until he hears her scream. Worried, he exits the mall, only to find Reia sending her father's men flying the air while flinging around a literal wooden bench. A red-eyed, long-haired, overpowered female character rings a bell. Reia falls into Chihiro's embrace while he's still picking up his jaw that just dropped onto the ground from seeing her strength.
Motherfucker!
However, the kidnappers have a change of plans and abduct Chihiro instead. While Reia tries to run after them, she's stopped by Yasutaka. I wouldn't be surprised to find this guy on a list of top 10 most hated anime characters. The episode ends on a cliffhanger, and the next episode doesn't do much to reveal about Chihiro and Reia's predicament.
That's gross, man.
These 20 minutes are dedicated to Mero, Chihiro's sister. Her days are taken up by education, housekeeping, and conversations about potential zombie sightings with her friends. They speculate that their teacher might be a zombie. However, they quickly find out she's just been feeding a pet crocodile at school secretly. And honestly, given this anime standards, I would consider that to be relatively normal. Mero, the subject of zombies, is pretty personally relevant to her. Not only does she live with a real zombie, but Mero's last memory of her deceased mother was a highly zombie-like person.
Nah, ma, go fuck yourself.
She's unable to forget the sensation of her mother's chilly touch. In fact, Mero finds some similarities between Reia and her deceased mother.
Your mother.
It's intriguing where her mother's story might go, but honestly, I'm kinda scared. In the next episode, we're taken back to the main storyline. While Chihiro is tied up to a chair waiting for Reia's father, Danichiro. Instead, he meets Aria, Reia's mother. Turns out Reia's biological mother is long dead. Aria is actually one of the maids at the Sanka's family who tried to win Danichiro's heart but failed. Instead, he fell in love with a half-paralyzed 15-year-old girl and proposed to her.
Shit just went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
The girl dies after giving birth to Reia, leaving Danichiro depressed. He almost becomes an alive skeleton, but Aria gives her all to save him. He later marries her, but she finds out it was not out of love, but to give Reia a motherly figure. It had always been about Reia. Soon, Aria discovers the truth, that Danichiro had feelings for Reia not out of fatherly love, but rather because of how much she resembles her mother. After Aria stops narrating the story, she just starts stripping. The woman has been rejected by her husband, so she approaches a 15-year-old. Before she can kiss him, though, Chihiro purposefully causes his chair to fall. Absolute rejection from everywhere, Aria just begins to break down. This woman has no self-respect. And when Danichiro calls Chihiro to his room, she envies him for getting to spend some time with her husband. In Danichiro's room, Reia's naked pictures from her childhood are flashed before Chihiro in a dramatic way, while Danichiro proudly takes credit for them.
You fucking with me, right?
Like, why is this dude always wearing a fencing suit? But also, what the hell are these pictures? Holy crap! Her father's minions have prepared a trap for her at the door. Turns out, his mates are equally as weird and as creepy as he is. They just wanted to try out different costumes on Reia. The penalty Chihiro will receive is pretty straightforward. The best candidate to defend Reia will be decided by a fencing match.
Sing, 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 sing!
How unfair, really? Danichiro, who has been fencing as long as he can remember, versus a 15-year-old Chihiro who has no experience in any combat whatsoever. Danichiro's underlings try out a bunny outfit on Reia, and that is when she finally has enough and breaks away from the chains to rescue Chihiro. Chihiro's last two brain cells have finally given up.
I'm out. I'll holler at you, homie.
When Danichiro says he can't understand what Reia sees in Chihiro and not him, Chihiro just starts twerking. He reminds Danichiro of the fact that he took naked pictures of his own daughter, to which Danichiro is surprised at that, and he goes, "How do you know that?"
What in fuck's name are you doing?
Unfortunately, Danichiro isn't in it for the mind games. Just as Rhea arrives in the room, the first blow of the fencing match is delivered. Sadly, that is the last blow as well, because Chihiro has never fought a man in his life. Chihiro receives full compensation for all the harsh remarks he used to postpone the match, as he is stabbed by Danichiro's saber right in front of Rhea's eyes. He headbutts Danichiro, Tanjiro style, and Rhea screams and Chihiro's eyes land on her instead. The man stands there, saber through his stomach, fawning over Rhea's bunny outfit. Fortunately, this won't be the end of him. When Rhea licked his wounds in the past, he was miraculously half zombified from it. Now, extremely enraged, Danichiro tries to slash Chihiro, but Rhea blocks him right away. Suddenly, petals start falling from the ceiling, and honestly, I've given up questioning everything at this point. Then Rhea gives a crucial speech that defines her character while dressed as a bunny, and it is a highly questionable fan service-driven choice. Furuya then knocks some sense into Danichiro's incestuous brain.
What in fuck's name are you doing?
After constantly battling for Rhea's possession for 11 episodes, Danichiro just decides to back off and leaves, warning Furuya not to take Rhea's V-card. He should bleed even if he isn't feeling the pain, which mysteriously begins as soon as the conversation ends. Meanwhile, at the Furuya residence, Chihiro wakes up to find Rhea wearing a nurse's costume.
Oh my good god.
They may have just gotten rid of Danichiro, but there's another hurdle to their relationship. Ranko, the cousin, of course it is. She arrives and introduces herself to Rhea as Chihiro's fiance. Rhea judges from Ranko's behavior that she is very in love with Chihiro. The last episode of this show leans more towards a neutral ending that leaves the plot open for more seasons, you know, because, they gotta make that money. Rhea expresses interest in attending a fireworks festival while Chihiro continues to search for a means to preserve Rhea's body. Rain cancels the fireworks celebration, but Ranko recommends that they hold smaller fireworks displays at the temple. Later that night, while Ranko helps Rhea wear a yukata, she admits that she's in love with Chihiro. Rhea expresses no desire to fight for his love, but Ranko wants Rhea to be her love rival, which look, if you just
Shut the fuck up.
Chihiro's sister reveals to him that Rhea wants to attend school. In the ending scene, while Rhea decides to join school again, she goes into a trance-like state and jumps on Chihiro and bites his lip. The end. The visuals for the final 5 minutes of the anime were actually really stunning, despite the fact that the anime was really disappointing at times, I'll be honest. You have to praise the character development though. While initially Chihiro gives off the impression of being an extreme pervert who fantasizes about zombie girls, he later learns the hard way how challenging and hazardous it is to be really in charge of one. Rhea, on the other hand, who transforms from the idealized fantasy of every teenage male to a 15-year-old girl who's been psychologically scarred,